Boru The Warrior King by John and Fatti Burke, published by Gill. There is a timeline and some facts at the end which you can read for yourselves, but here is the story of Brian Boru. Brian and his brothers and sisters grew up beside the River Shannon near Killaloe in County Clare. Their father, Kennetig, was chieftain of the Dalgash clan and king of Thomond. The Vikings lived in nearby Limerick with their leader Ivar. Brian wanted to be a soldier like his father and protect his kingdom from the Viking Norsemen. When Brian was 12 years old, his village was raided by Vikings and Brian's parents were killed. Brian's elder brother Mahon became the leader of the clan. The two brothers went into the hills and forests and fought the Vikings whenever they could. One day Brian tricked the Vikings. They chased him into a dark forest where the Dalgash ambushed them. The brothers grew to be so powerful that Mahon became king of Munster. Years later, Mahon was murdered by one of Ivar's Viking friends. Brian was so angry that he went looking for Ivar. He chased him to Scattery Island and killed him. Brian then captured Limerick and took control of the Viking town of Waterford. Now Brian was king of Munster as well as chieftain of the Dalgash, and he decided to make peace with the Vikings. Meanwhile, the High King of Ireland, Malachy, had also defeated a Viking army at the Battle of Tara. Brian went to meet the High King and they agreed to defend Ireland together. Malachy took care of the north and Brian took care of the south. King Malachy was at war with Muel Morda, the King of Leinster, and Sitric Silkenbeard, the Viking leader of Dublin. Brian and his son Morrow helped Malachy to defeat the Leinster army at the Battle of Glen. After this battle, Muel Morda escaped, but was spotted hiding in a yew tree. Brian punished him, but decided to let him go. Brian had a stronger army than Malachy, so it was agreed that Brian would become High King, also known as the Ord Rí. Brian Boru was a good king. He repaired ruined churches and built new ones. He even replaced lost books and stolen treasures. To help pay for the work, he taxed the Vikings and Irish chieftains. Brian loved music and poetry, so he supported harpers and singers. Brian was a fine harp player, and that is why the harp is a symbol of Ireland. Brian marched around Ireland with his army and was very popular with the people. After many years of peace, Brian invited Muel Morda to his palace in Clare. Muel Morda gave some advice to Brian's sons, who were playing a game of chess. He was told to mind his own business and climb back up his yew tree. After that insult, Muel Morda stormed out in a temper. As soon as Muel Morda got back to Dublin, he and Sitric prepared for battle. Malachy heard about this and warned Brian, who gathered a huge army that included white Vikings from Waterford and Limerick. Now Muel Morda and Sitric needed help, as they sent for more Vikings from Scotland, Orkney and the Isle of Man. In April 1014, a large fleet of Viking ships arrived in Dublin Bay. But Brian and Malachy were ready for them. The two armies met in a fierce and bloody battle at Clontarf on Good Friday. Sitric's army soon got tired and tried to retreat, but Malachy's men stopped them. Brian and Malachy's soldiers defeated the Viking and Leinster armies at the Battle of Clontarf. It was a great victory. King Brian was too old to fight in the battle, but his son Murrough fought and was killed. Now Brian had lost his parents, his brother, and his son to the Vikings. While Brian was in his tent praying for his son, a Viking called Broder spotted the king, snuck into the tent, and killed him. Everyone was very sad about Brian's death. His body was taken to Armagh, where he lies buried. The power of the Vikings was broken, and the country remained at peace for over 100 years. Brian Boru would be remembered in Irish history forever.